New York City holds its mayoral elections every 4 years, and the 2025 race will determine who leads the city's nearly 8.5 million residents. The current mayor, Eric Adams, is not seeking re-election in the usual way. He withdrew his candidacy in September 2025 and is running as an independent. The election is widely seen as a barometer of voter sentiment, not just within New York City, but also for broader regional and national political trends. Because of the city's size and diversity, more than 200 languages are spoken, nearly half of the business ownership are by immigrants. This mayoral race takes on additional significance for the population groups and policy focus. In prior years, the city has elected mayors from the Democratic Party consistently since 2001, making party dynamics and intra-party contests especially meaningful this cycle. In short, the stage is set for a high-stakes contest with wide implications for housing, transit, public safety, and urban governance. 3 leading candidates dominate media coverage in the 2025 mayoral contest. First, Zoran Mamdani. He is a Democratic nominee, a member of the New York State Assembly. He's identified as a democratic socialist and has built a platform around housing affordability, transit costs, and progressive policies. Then we have Andrew Cuomo, a former governor of New York and a once establishment figure. He lost the Democratic primary to Mamdani, then launched a campaign as an independent for the general election. Then you have Curtis Sliwa, the Republican nominee, earlier known for his work with the Guardian Angels. He is running in a city that heavily leans Democratic, which frames his campaign dynamics. Each candidate brings distinct institutional, ideological, and demographic bases. Mamdani aligning with younger progressive voters, Cuomo with more traditional establishment networks, and Sliwa representing the Republican alternative in a historically Democratic city. Right now, polls are showing that Mamdani is leading by a significant margin in some recent surveys. For example, a recent poll showed him at about 46% support, with Cuomo at 33% and Sliwa trailing around 15%. I did get this from Quinnipiac University. However, other polls suggest the margin may be narrowing. One indicated Cuomo closing the gap to about 6.6 points behind Mamdani. Early voting participation has surged. On the first weekend of early voting, turnout was reportedly about 5 times what it was for the 2021 mayoral election. Voter age and demographic differences matter. Older voters appear to be more active in early sessions, while younger voters who are strong in the primaries are still important but may have varying turnout. These data points suggest that while leads exist, the final outcome remains open to movement, obviously, especially given the large electorate of New York City and the proportions of registered voters from different party affiliations, about 65% Democrats and around 11% of Republicans. Thus, the contest remains competitive, more so because of increased mobilization, numerous media endorsements, and both grassroots and establishment forces. Turnout patterns, demographic shifts, and candidate messaging in the final stretch will likely play a decisive role. Housing affordability is central to this race. Candidates are addressing rent-stabilized units, public housing preservation, and the conversion of underutilized spaces for residential use. Transit and public transportation costs are also high on the agenda. For example, Mamdani's campaign has talked about lowering transport costs and making transit more accessible. Education policy is being discussed as well, where candidates stand on school funding, infrastructure, and equity in education are part of this huge debate. Public safety and crime remain perennial concerns in the city. Candidates' approach to policing, subway safety, and community outreach are under scrutiny. For instance, Sliwa brings his background in public safety to the campaign themes. Demographic representation and diversity matters. New York City's population is extremely diverse. Immigrants, multiple languages, and varied borough profiles, which means candidates are tailoring messages to a wide array of communities. Campaign financing, ballot access, and election mechanics like ranked choice voting for primaries also factor into how this race unfolds. Overall, voters are being asked to choose not just the mayor, but a vision for how this city will manage its housing, transit, safety, diversity, and future growth over the next 4 years. This mayoral election may reshape the city's policy trajectory at a time when national and global pressures, economic, social, and demographic, are intense. New York City is often viewed as a barometer city, meaning what happens here can signal broader shifts in urban governance across the United States. The rise of a candidate like Zoran Mondani, a younger progressive voice, signals generational change in a political representation. The fact that Andrew Cuomo, a major political figure, is running as an independent after losing the primary suggests unusual volatility in party alignment and voter behavior. The large surge in early voting indicates that voter engagement is higher than usual, meaning outcomes might be more volatile than anticipated, because many of the issues, housing, transit, safety, are shared by other large U.S. cities. The policy outcomes from this election will likely be watched and studied. This election also provides insight into how diverse, pluralistic populations engage with the local governance, especially in a city as complex as New York. For candidates, winning will require building coalitions across boroughs, age groups, race ethnic communities, and income levels. Not a trivial feat. And for the next mayor, the mandate will be significant, meeting the expectations raised in a high-profile campaign and delivering tangible improvements over the next term. In short, this election is more than just a local contest. It's a moment of potential transformation for one of the world's major cities. And after the election, examine how the new mayor intends to transition from campaign promise to governance. Execution will shape the next 4 years, because in a city as large and complex as New York, winning is only half the battle. Delivering is the other half. All right, Q, you tell him something now. I don't know what to say no more.
Looking good for this dude, Andrew Cuomo, man. Mamdani for the win. Honestly, like, we knew Mamdani was going to win. This dude, Cuomo, has zero sauce. And even if he did, like my boy Kyle always says, policy is king. We're not rocking with Cuomo like on any of his policies. But the elections are soon, man. You guys got to get out there and vote, man. Vote Democrat, man. Vote left. Don't vote for the poisoning party. Yeah, that's a good name. I seen a meme the other day, and it was like, or no, it wasn't a meme. It was a Sneeko. It was like a video of Sneeko basically saying, like, with Mamdani, his scandal was like, oh, he was eating with his hands. Obama's scandal was like, fucking, he didn't, like, drop emails or some shit. And then Trump's scandal is literally, he didn't drop the fucking Epstein files, but like, no one cares that much. Like, these two other scandals, like, oh yeah, these are fucking crazy, bro. But the Epstein files, I don't know if we care about the Epstein files or not. Like, and then just look at a picture of Cuomo versus a picture of fucking, like, bro, look at this shit, bro. It's like, it's almost uncomparable. It's like one guy who clearly has a soul, and then the other guy whose soul has been fucking ripped out from his body by glazing his own enemies, by being Diet MAGA, by being against his own cause. Yeah, man, free Mati, man, free get to that. But that's the end of my segment in this video. Shout out, y'all should check out my channel at Like6Bands, or it's just cute, right? My at is Like6Bands. The 6 is the number 6. Yeah, bye.